Hi, welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable, where we discuss all topics real estate. I'm Nick Ahrens.
Hey, and I'm Steve Crowley.
I'm Darren Shepard.
And I'm Jimmy Reed, and we're your hosts.
Hi, and welcome to Real Estate Roundtable, where we talk about all things real estate. And I'm Gabby Cabel, your operations manager, and I'm here with Nick Ahrens.
Yep, senior sales partner here. And Gabby, what are we getting into today?
So it's a little bit different today. Instead of my operations manager hat, I'm going to take that off and remove it. And I want to know about the experience of just home buying. You know, I'm your typical millennial. We've got data that millennials are the age range where currently are the most buyers right now. So I also know that hearing from my colleagues and from people around me that people are pretty afraid and, you know, maybe have student debt, maybe have some credit card debt, not really knowing where to start.
Yeah.
If it's worth it to buy, kind of stuck in this realm of just renting and paycheck to paycheck and not really knowing where to go from there. So.
Got it. So where to go from there? So if I were talking to you,
Yep.
I have no clue what you're doing, not even sure if you wanted to buy a home, I'd say step one is get in front of a professional realtor. First thing, but be very clear about it.
But I'm not ready. I don't know what's happening. Why would I do that first?
Because there's a lot of different steps you can take. For example, if you were to come to me in that situation and say, I don't know if I'm going to buy, I don't know how to buy, I have no money to buy, and I have college debt and car debt because of whatever life circumstances happened. Here we are. What I'm going to tell you first couple of things is, okay, well, where would you like to live? What's your living situation now? How much are you spending in rent now? Second thing I'm going to get into is different programs to see if you might even qualify for a mortgage. Maybe you don't. Maybe we need to adjust some things there. Third piece, where do you want to live? Do you want to live here in San Clemente, up in Mission Viejo, over in Irvine, maybe Costa Mesa, Tustin? Like, what are some areas where you would actually enjoy being? And then is it feasible, right? Do we have enough information at that point to say, hey, maybe we should actually take the next step to seriously consider this, or maybe we should revisit in 6 months?
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, I definitely want to be in Orange County, where that's going to differ case by case. Hypothetically, let's just say here in San Clemente, decided, want to live here, just renting now, trying to get out of that. How would you take on those next steps? So figured out where I want to live,
Mm-hmm.
got a sort of idea of what I'm currently paying.
Yeah.
What now?
So let's make up a scenario. Let's say you're paying $3,000 a month in rent, and you say, Nick, I want to buy, but it's going to cost me $5,000 a month to buy. Like, why the heck should I even buy? That's where I would like to start the conversation.
Yep.
People go,
And that's usually where everyone freaks out. Those numbers even freak me out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is this even possible?
Yep. So a couple of things. If it's not, so I like to do something that's called Playhouse. I'd say, Gabby, we're going to play house. We're going to go 3 months, 90 days. I'm going to give you a 90-day challenge to play house. And here's what it's going to look like. Is your rent's $3,000 in this situation, in this hypothetical situation, and your mortgage is going to be $5,000. So what you're going to do is every paycheck, I'm assuming it's 2 paychecks a month, you're going to stash away an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month. So it will feel like you're spending $5,000 a month out of pocket.
So already practicing those habits before you're even in that situation.
Yep. And here's what's going to happen. First month, you're going to call me and go, I don't know if I can do this.
I don't know.
I'm like,
I miss my Starbucks.
Miss my Starbucks. I'm eating rice all day, every day. I'm eating rice and pasta and nothing else. I don't know what to do. I'm going to go, okay, totally normal. Mm-hmm. 1 more month. Let's see if we can adjust some habits and make things work. What I typically find by the end of that second month is people go, okay, I adjusted a couple things. I'm no longer eating rice and beans for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Mm-hmm. I'm actually able to go to Starbucks sometimes. I make my own coffee here. I've made just some subtle life adjustments to help compensate for those things. But I'm still enjoying my life. I'm still getting that same satisfaction, fulfillment, day to day and week to week and weekends and friends and that kind of stuff. Typically by the end of that third month, people go, this is easy. for sure I can do this. Or what's going to happen is the other most common scenario I find where people go, okay, instead of $5,000 a month, I can't do that. That's really hard, but I'm able to do $4,000 a month.
Okay. So a little bit of a reality check there of like, okay,
Yeah. And
here's what I can realistically do without losing my sanity.
yeah, exactly. And then, okay, instead of $5,000 a month, what could we afford? Let's adjust and see what we could afford at $4,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, somebody 6 months out from a purchase, a year out from buying. Maybe they're even 3 and 4 and 5 years out from making a home purchase. But at least we know what we can do. We have a saving strategy. We've adjusted a bit. And that's a really, really good starting point.
Like, that's okay to come and talk to a realtor even that far in advance?
Oh, yeah. Like, there was a couple I just gave the keys to last summer. I had worked with them for 4.5 years.
Wow.
They were about to buy a home, and they were in a situation where husband was just finishing up at university. So husband and wife, and the wife was working. She was new at an architecture firm, so not making much, working a lot of hours.
And doesn't that have an effect with, like, qualifications for loans, too, a new job, or that matter?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. There's a lot of nuances to it. And again, that's why it's important to talk to a real estate professional who can connect you with the right people to see, is that going to impact things or not?
Right. So how early would you suggest even meeting with a lender?
It just kind of depends. If somebody's like, hey, I want to move, I have this goal, my lease is up in 6 months or my lease is up in a year from now, okay, let's get going. It's go time to start aligning yourself with the right professionals.
Okay.
To give you the right counsel, right? Because our thing here at the REIT team is we want to make sure no one has any blind spots. They're saving the right way. They're looking in the right areas for the right reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Just planning enough out in advance, which makes sense. That's like the type of person I am. Like, I want to plan everything out from the beginning. Don't want to be rushed. Like that whole scenario of like, oh, my lease is up in 6 months. I need to buy now. I don't have a plan. That stresses me out. So.
And I've done the opposite as well.
Yep.
I helped a guy. He worked in Irvine, and he actually came to us and he said, all right, Nick, I'm engaged. We're going to get married. I've got 7 days to renew my lease. What the heck do I do? So I said, okay, this is going to be tricky. We're going to spend a lot of hours together over the next 7 days to see if this is going to work or not. And you're going to have to move very quick and talk to the right people. Mm-hmm. But we got you with the systems and tools we have. We're going to make sure you make the right investment, again, for the right reasons. And if it's not, I'm going to suggest to you, let's wait a year. Let's wait 6 months and revisit. Okay. But this will be a really good exercise either way. And with it, I think we spent about 6 hours the first day together. We saw about 12 homes the next day, in 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening, so we could break it up and not just go totally delusional.
That seems like a lot.
By day 4, we wrote an offer. By day 5, we were under contract.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's still there 5 years later.
That's incredible.
Loves the place.
And he was able to get, like, was it a loan situation?
It was a loan situation. Okay. He had 3.5% of the purchase price for down payment.
Okay.
So he didn't have a whole lot. He had about $20,000 set aside that he could use.
But he did have some stuff set aside, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Let's take that same scenario.
It'd be hard to
what
save
if
20 grand in 4 days.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
unless you're
exactly
really good
like
at scratchers or the lotto or
fingers crossed. Like, oh, if this works out.
Got that feeling when I go to the gas station. I'm going to 7-Eleven. I'm playing.
Which is like, I mean, you're gonna play your odds that way. It's not likely, but no. So if that situation were a little bit different, where they didn't have those types of funds for a down payment, what would have been your advice instead?
It would be twofold. First things first, let's play house.
Back to
I'm very conservative financially, and I want. So let me back up real quick. So one of the big things that's important to me in this business is to make sure people are making the right decisions for themselves from a financial standpoint.
Right.
I would just feel awful if I got somebody into a bad financial situation.
I mean, it's a stressful situation already. So to make that kind of worse and heightened anxiety, That'd be a mess.
So I like to touch on that and just make sure, even if that's not exciting for somebody, and they really don't want to go into depth, they don't really understand that side of things, I'm still going to do my due diligence to make sure they're making the right decisions for their family and themselves. Make sure they're taken care of there. Second step, I'm going to say, hey, how well do you know the different areas? If you're like, I kind of know them, I know the Tustin marketplace, and I've got a couple friends in Tustin, so I want to be around there, maybe Orange, maybe Irvine, but kind of right around that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Let's go check out different communities. Let's go, once a month, we'll go check out 2 to 3 properties, spend an hour once a month, and just see different floor plans, different builders, different communities. That way you fast forward a year from now, when you have your savings, because you've been playing house,
Right.
What's going to happen is in about 6 months or so, you're going to say, Nick, these are the 3 communities I want to be in. In the first one, there's 2 floor plans. In the other 2 communities, there's 1 floor plan each I want to be in.
Which you might not have known that unless you're outgoing. And that, at least to me, is the exciting part. And I know a lot of people get excited to go to open houses or just see the different types of homes available. But yeah, people kind of stress out when it comes to the whole financial side of things because it's a lot.
It is a lot. And if somebody's an actual professional realtor, they're going to walk you through these things. There's not going to be an obligation. They are going to want to strategize with you for a year or 2 or 5 years out.
Yeah.
If they are high pressure, high sales, what they're going to do, and just for everybody's edification out there, is they're going to say, Gabby, I refuse to show you a home until you're pre-approved. If you don't sign this buyer broker agreement with me, I refuse to show you homes.
Which is like, that takes all the fun out of it. And I know that it's a serious situation and you are trying to reach your goals, but, you got to start somewhere. And so sometimes that is planning out, like you said, or playing house.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Awesome. So
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah.
So what other questions kind of around that and buying a home in general come to mind? Or have you heard other people ask?
So one of the thoughts that I just had is like, you see so often this kind of renter's shame where it's like, oh, rent is just 100% interest. Why are you freaking out about these interest rates? And so there's this whole negative connotation around renters and like, you need to do this. You need to stop renting.
Yeah.
What's your advice to kind of combat that if, that's currently the individual's situation? They're, maybe it's not the right time for them to buy and they're just hearing all this negative stuff about renting.
They're going to hear that from high-pressure salespeople, not somebody who likely has your best interest.
Say that again.
Yeah,
like,
they're going to be hearing
good.
that from a high-pressure sales environment.
Yeah.
Which a lot of realtors approach it that way, unfortunately. Instead of somebody who's an actual fiduciary, who's an actual consultant in looking out for your best interest.
Right.
There's plenty of situations where myself or Darren and other people on the team have said it's actually in your best interest to go and rent for another year or 2 years. And here's the plan on why. Here's the data behind it. And here's the strategy we're going to implement over the next year or 2 for you.
I love that.
And execute.
So it's not just like, oh yeah, just rent. I'll call you in 2 years. It's like, no, yes, just rent, but here is why. And there is that plan. So it seems to always go back to the plan and making sure that you're prepared, whether it is renting for the time being.
Now there's a lot of things that a lot of first-time homebuyers typically don't know in depth, which is, and again, for anybody who's watched this podcast at least once knows I'm very data-driven, I'm very analytical.
Yep.
So I'm going to go run through this really quick for everybody. As my alarm goes off as a reminder on my phone. So real quick, what a lot of people don't understand is the interest on the mortgage, tax deductible.
Okay.
The property taxes, tax deductible. Obviously, you're going to want to talk to a CPA about your situation and buying a home to see how it applies to you. There's a lot of tax write-offs you can get from that initial purchase and from paying a mortgage and taxes monthly.
Okay.
Another piece of it, let's say you were to buy at $1 million purchase price, and the market were to, over the last 40 years, the market averages an increase here locally in Orange County of about 4% per year. Very, very low increase and slow and steady, right? Let's say you buy $1 million home, you're there for 2 years, it's gone up 80 grand. So you made $80,000 in 2 years just from buying that house.
Yep. Which is crazy.
Not only that, but now you have the tax write-offs, thousands of dollars in savings. You've also paid down probably, let's call it $15,000. So 85 plus 15, you're at about 90, let's call it, in this hypothetical situation, you're already $95,000 ahead in terms of a net worth perspective for you and your family before tax write-offs and before depreciation on the house, which again, talk to your CPA about. So fast forward, say 5 years, you might be $150,000 ahead by having purchased versus rented.
Okay.
Right? Now, it feels more expensive, but there's a lot that goes into it with write-offs, deductions,
And things you don't get as a renter.
Yeah, exactly. So what we often do is I will actually ping our CPA. Say, hey, here's a real person with a real life situation. Here's their actual rent. Here's what an actual purchase price would be. What does it actually come out to be?
Okay.
Coming back to your example of the $3,000 a month rent versus $5,000 a month all in to buy. Now, if you save $12,000 by owning a home at the end of the year on taxes, that $5,000 is really $4,000. So there's different ways to look at it.
So, there's planning in that all involved too. So the planning doesn't just happen at the beginning. It's even as you're a home buyer as well.
Yeah.
Or a homeowner. Sorry.
Absolutely. And so I talk with homeowners all the time just to revisit all these concepts. Because I was just telling you, I was with a very, very good friend of mine out in Rancho Santa Margarita yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, Nick, I'm thinking about a career change, but what do I do? It might be in 3 to 5 years. I said, okay, your home will probably be worth this range, like up here from where you bought it. Here's options with pulling money out of equity to do 2 different things for investments. He's got 2 kids. He's married with 2 kids. Here's ways to strategize for college funds. Get with your financial advisor, get with your CPA, and get me all in the same room, so we can strategize about your family's finances going forward. What's all this going to look like?
Yeah, because life is not linear. So, exactly what your example was. He's looking at a new job, and kids. That's a whole nother thing added to the mix, and their college funds. So So bringing it back to the beginning, always talk to a professional, get a plan. Once that plan is starting to move, meet a lender, figure out what communities you actually want to be in. Then what? What?
You just buy the house.
You just buy the house. Just like that.
Just snap your fingers, done.
Cool. I'm so glad it's so easy.
Yeah, totally easy. There's quite a bit that goes into it, obviously, from the negotiation side, from the due diligence, home inspection side of things. Okay. There's a lot that goes into that, but we're going to hold somebody's hand all the way through. I'm going to go through every document. I'm telling you right now, in the state of California, about 98% of it's boilerplate stuff that has nothing to do with negotiations.
I was just about to say that. It's a lot of paper and legalese. And
so I always ask people, how much depth do you want to know? I'm happy to go through every sentence of every document, and there's probably 100 to 150 pages. Yeah. I've done it before, happy to do it because I want to make sure somebody's confident in what they're doing, because it's a big purchase. Yep. There's a lot to it.
And our transaction manager does that as well with things like disclosures.
Yep.
I know that. So super helpful to have a team that's well-versed and willing, like you said, to walk through step by step, line by line, if you want to know those in that much detail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, what are the homeowners association rules and regulations?
Right.
Can you have a bounce house in your front yard or in the middle of the street or in the park? Like, people want to know these things.
Yeah.
Again, we do that, and we're happy to go through all of that with somebody. If somebody, most people, I would say, go with option 2, which I say is, I will give you the highlights. What's like the big ticket things? I'm still going to review everything else for you, but I'll let you know the pros and cons of everything coming in.
Okay.
Third option is, And sometimes this happens. I just ran through 2 stories in my head. That was the pause. And they're like, Nick, I don't really care. Just tell me where to sign, and I'm just going to buy the house and move
Wow.
in. Okay.
I wish I could
Now-
be that carefree.
now, I'm still like, I still have to let you know all the little
Yeah.
negative pieces because
Right. You're obligated as a
I'm not
professional.
only obligated to do that from a fiduciary standpoint,
Yeah.
from a legal standpoint, as an agent in the agency agreement we have, but also it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Say, hey, your roof has only got about 5 years left. I
Yep.
know you want to buy the house, but just start planning for that.
Just be aware, FYI. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So go through all the paperwork. You close on a home. You get your keys. It's exciting.
Yeah.
What happens
can-
from there?
I say, see you later. You're on your own.
Peace.
No, what actually happens is I would like to be there throughout somebody's homeownership experience.
Okay.
Again, coming back to Brian. Hey, we review him and do like kind of an equity analysis every about 6 months
Okay.
of where's he at, where's his family at, can we plan things differently, can we strategize a little differently, does he want to start paying his mortgage down early, does it make sense to do it, does it not, get with his financial planner, we can kind of all brainstorm together in that sense. He needed a roofer, he needed a painter. I connected with him with the same roofer and same painter I used on my personal home.
Okay.
Happy to refer, all those people I know and use on my home to anybody else I know as well.
Right, which is super helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is how many connections you have as a realtor, and doing this so many times and supporting people in their home buying process, home selling process, remodeling. We have an immense amount of contacts that we can share and that we've used in the past and have had good experiences with. So
Yeah. Like I know I always tell people, let me know what you're planning to do to the home, because I probably know somebody who I know and trust who can do the work.
yeah,
And then second, let me know from what lens you're looking at it.
right.
For example, I got an email, when was that? I posted it on our workplace a while ago. I said, hey, here's an example of something. And somebody came to me and said, hey, Nick, we're planning to move in 4 to 5 years. Definitely not 6 or 7, more likely 4 to 5.
Okay.
But we want to redo our flooring, our paint, and our kitchen. What should we do to maximize the dollar we're going to get back on the home?
Right.
I love those conversations and geek out about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, of course you do.
Yeah. I'm gonna go, okay, first things first, what are you going to get the most enjoyment from?
Yeah, most enjoyment. Well, and then, like you said, it's the return on their dollar, the most for their dollar. So some people think, oh, I need to redo this entire house, when a lot of times that's not even necessary.
A lot of times you can just make us, for the purposes of selling a home, to get a lot of money back for a little dollar amount put into it. Easy to do, and you can do that for most homes. For them, because they're going to be there 4 and 5 years, it's okay, let's weigh both sides of that seesaw.
Right.
How much enjoyment will you have from it? If you hate your paint color and you walk in every day
Yep.
and just go, I don't want to see these maroon walls or whatever color the walls are, let's go ahead and paint your house. Do that first.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that balance of return on investment, and how much you'll get back versus how much you'll enjoy the home versus hate that aspect of your home as well.
Awesome. So I think we're going to wrap up, but I do want to bring it back to the buy side. If you had to give 3 tips on someone who is in the very early stages, not really sure, what would be your three tips or 3 starting points?
I would say talk to 2 to 3 agents. Talk
Okay.
to 2 to 3 professional agents. A lot of people get connected with a family member or a friend who's just getting started, or maybe they've been in the business 30 years, but they've sold 3 homes ever. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I see that. Talk to a actual real estate professional.
Yeah. Someone that's doing it full time.
And second thing, find somebody who's creating a strategy for your situation.
Yep. Not just being like, you need to buy now.
Hey, here's the steps 1 through 10, and I'm going to force you to go through these 1 through 10 steps here.
Yeah.
No, have somebody who can create something specifically for you in your situation.
And that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Dive into their world.
Yeah. And 3 is just have fun with it. Have fun.
You're allowed to have fun?
You're
What?
allowed to have fun. You can get out there. You can make fun of homes. You can walk into a home and go, why the hell would they make those walls maroon over here? This is super weird. It should be a fun, enjoyable experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you for everyone that listened. If you have any questions about the process or you want to reach out and start planning for your home purchase, or if you're selling a home, reach out, let us know, and tune in next time.
Yeah. Thanks for being my hypothetical home buyer, Gabby.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Real Estate Roundtable. If you'd like to connect with any of the sales partners here on the REIT team, our information is below and we'd love to chat with you.